Hello and welcome to Mark Viz News. Today we're tackling a significant and highly controversial announcement from the UK government that could fundamentally change the rules around British citizenship. What does it mean to be a British citizen? Is it a permanent right, or is it a privilege that can be suspended by the state even after a court has ruled in your favour? On September the 10th, 2025, the government officially unveiled its plans for a new piece of legislation, the Deprivation of Citizenship Orders Effect During Appeal Bill. Now, that name is a mouthful, but its impact is incredibly direct and powerful. This bill is set to be debated in the House of Lords next month, on October the 14th, and it's already generating intense discussion among lawyers, human rights groups, and politicians across the spectrum. So, what is this all about? Why is the government pushing for this change now? And what could it mean for the rights and security of every British citizen? In this video, we'll explain everything you need to know. But before we begin, if you've not already, subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell for upcoming updates on UK visas, citizenship, and indefinite leave to remain. Now, let's jump in. To understand why the government is introducing this new bill, we have to go back to a landmark Supreme Court judgment from February of this year. This ruling is the entire reason we're having this conversation. Under existing UK law, the Home Secretary has the power to deprive someone of their British citizenship. This is an extreme measure, typically reserved for cases where it's believed to be conducive to the public good. This phrase is often linked to serious national security concerns, such as terrorism, espionage, or organised crime. Now, anyone who has their citizenship taken away has the right to appeal that decision in court. This is a cornerstone of our justice system. The Supreme Court's ruling in February 2025 established a crucial point. If a person wins their initial appeal in the first-tier tribunal, they immediately and automatically regain their British citizenship. Think of it like this. The government, through the Home Office, revokes your citizenship. You challenge them in court, arguing the decision was unlawful, disproportionate, or based on flawed intelligence. The judge looks at the evidence and agrees with you, ruling that the government's decision was wrong. The moment that judgment is made, you are a British citizen again. Your rights are restored. The government can still appeal that decision to a higher court, like the Court of Appeal or even the Supreme Court again. This is the key point during that entire, often lengthy, onward appeal process. Your status as a citizen is restored. This is where the new bill comes in. The government sees this automatic restoration of citizenship not as justice being served, but as a legal loophole and a potential security risk. The Deprivation of Citizenship Orders Effect During Appeal Bill is designed to do one very specific thing: to reverse the effect of that Supreme Court ruling. If this bill becomes law, a deprivation of citizenship order would remain in full legal effect until the entire appeals process is over. Let's use our previous example again, but this time, under the proposed new rules, the government revokes your citizenship. You appeal and, once again, you win in the first court. The judge finds the government's decision was flawed. Under this new bill, you would not regain your citizenship. Nothing would change for you. You would remain legally stateless without a country while the government decides whether to appeal to a higher court, and throughout that entire onward appeal process. Only if the government exhausts all its appeal options and loses at every stage, or if it decides not to appeal further, would you finally get your citizenship back. This is a single clause bill, but it represents a seismic shift in the balance of power. It keeps the power firmly in the hands of the state during a legal challenge, rather than restoring rights to the individual upon a successful appeal. So, what are the arguments for and against this profound change? On October the 14th, the Minister of State at the Home Office, Lord Hanson of Flint, will open the debate in the House of Lords. We can expect him to argue, on behalf of the government, that this is a necessary and proportionate measure for national security. The government's position is that allowing an individual who they have already deemed a significant threat to regain citizenship even temporarily is an unacceptable risk. They will argue that during that period, the person could potentially obtain a British passport and travel, access public funds and services, or reconnect with networks the government is trying to disrupt, all while the state is still pursuing legal action to confirm the deprivation. They will frame this as closing a dangerous gap in the law to ensure public safety is the absolute priority. The core of their argument will be, why should a person we believe is a danger to the UK be given back all the rights of a citizen before the courts have made a final, definitive ruling? However, the opposition to this bill is fierce, and we will hear these concerns voiced loudly in the House of Lords. Critics, including some of the UK's most prominent human rights lawyers and organisations like Liberty and Amnesty International, argue that this bill fundamentally undermines the rule of law and the very cheap principle of justice. Their first point is that a successful appeal means a court of law and independent judicial body has determined the government's original decision was wrong. It could have been unlawful, based on secret evidence that didn't stand up to scrutiny, or simply an abuse of power. This bill essentially says that a court's judgment can be set aside, and the government's flawed decision can continue to punish an individual for months, or even years, while the legal process drags on. Secondly, rights organisations are particularly concerned about the creation of a prolonged legal limbo, or more accurately, a state of induced statelessness. A person in this situation would be left without a country. Think about the practical reality of that. You are unable to work legally, rent a home, open a bank account, access most healthcare, or travel. You are effectively trapped with your entire life on hold even after a court has sided with you. This raises serious questions about fairness and the presumption of innocence. Opponents will argue that the bill prioritizes state power over individual rights and due process, creating a system where you are punished indefinitely even after being vindicated in court. It creates a scenario where the process itself becomes the punishment. The upcoming debate on October the 14th is known as the second reading. This is the main stage where members of the House of Lords will scrutinize the bill's core principles. They will raise these exact concerns and likely propose amendments or changes to try and soften its impact or add more safeguards. For example, they might argue for a strict time limit on the government's ability to appeal, or for financial support to be given to the individual stuck in this limbo. This is not the final vote, but it is the most critical test of the bill's support. Given the profound legal and ethical questions it raises, expect a passionate and contentious debate. So, to summarise this complex issue, the Supreme Court ruled in February that if you win an appeal against citizenship deprivation, you get your citizenship back immediately. The government says this is a security risk. Their new bill proposes that even if you win your appeal, you remain without citizenship until the government has finished all of its own appeals, a process that could take years. In short, the government wants to ensure that when it strips someone of their citizenship, that decision sticks until every single legal avenue has been exhausted. Critics say this tramples on justice and creates a system where you can be punished by the state indefinitely, even after a court has ruled in your favour. This is a story we will be following very closely here at Mark These News. What happens next month in the House of Lords will have lasting implications for the balance of power between the state and its citizens in the United Kingdom, and for the very meaning of citizenship itself. We want to know what you think. Is this a necessary security measure to protect the public? Or is it a dangerous step too far that undermines our legal system? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this explanation helpful, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our updates on this developing story and other important news breakdowns. Thanks for watching.